Hi guys, it's me ChazzaHD and welcome to a review of the final day of the first test. And what we're going to do today is review how the teams got on day 4 of pre-season testing in 2019. And also I will show the results of what you guys have voted for as the best livery for 2019. And also I will give a channel update as to what content is coming out after today's stream, up until basically the end of pre-season testing. But hopefully you guys are doing well on this early evening on Thursday here in the UK at least. Hopefully you're all doing well no matter where you are in the world. But before we get into properly reviewing the teams, let's of course look at the results from day 4. So here are the results. Nico Hülkenberg ends the day fastest from Alexander Albon in second. Daniel Ricciardo is third. Then it is Bottas fourth. Hamilton fifth. Leclerc is sixth. And then Giovinazzi is in P7. And then P8 is Grosjean. P9 is Kevin Magnussen. 10th is Pierre Gasly. And then after that you have Norris, Stroll, Russell and Kubica. When it comes to those times by those drivers and also these 10 drivers, I will show you later what tyres they were on when they did those times and also how many laps they did today on day 4. But before I get into reviewing the teams, there is something very important I need to let you guys know. My day 1, day 2 and day 3 reviews of pre-season testing were all falsely and wrongly copyright claimed by FOM. And by the way, there's nothing in the videos they own. Absolutely nothing. They're so false. The same thing happened to the F1 Word. They copyright claimed his content even though there was nothing in that or in those streams that they owned. So FOM is really on a, I guess, a legal tear. I don't know what to say. But they are really on a tear at the moment when it comes to copyright claims. Very, very false copyright claims. So if this stream goes down whilst I'm live because of copyright issues, or when you watch it back later or tomorrow it isn't there anymore, then there's nothing I can really do because of the way the YouTube copyright system works. I have disputed all 3 videos and the claims on them, so they will get released because there's nothing on those videos that they own. There's absolutely nothing. So they will get released eventually, but it's such a shame and it's so stupid. And if you are listening, FOM, release the claims. You don't own anything in the videos, just release the claims. Stop being such idiots. But let's now move on to reviewing the teams and how they got on for day 4 of pre-season testing. First off is Mercedes, who had a lot better of a day. Their car looked a lot better, and also they actually started pushing on lap times compared to Ferrari and other teams such as Red Bull and Renault. The Mercedes car did look better today when they took fuel out of the car, but it still doesn't, for me, look as good as the Ferrari. It's still a bit unstable in certain places. And also, Valtteri Bottas came out, I think, today and said that this Mercedes car, in terms of the grip or stability, is on a knife edge. So even Bottas, who drove the car plenty already, has come out and said that this car is hard to drive. And when you watch it on track, it's clear to see it's not a comfortable car to drive. It is fast, but it isn't as comfortable to drive as the Ferrari or even the Red Bull at this time. So things are looking better, but I don't think they have the best car right now. I don't think they do. And further evidence of that is that they are bringing a new upgrade, a massive upgrade, to the second test. So they are already trying to claw back the performance that they are currently giving away to Ferrari. And I don't see how they have, at the moment, Mercedes, a better car. I think Ferrari do right now have the best car. So hopefully they can claim that performance back from their point of view. And they really need to going into 2019. Next up is Ferrari. Ferrari weren't really going for lap times. They could have if they went on the C5 compound of tyre, which is what people were using towards the end of the day and also the end of the morning. So yeah, they weren't really going for lap times, but they were still impressive. Their lap time was very impressive considering the tyres they were on and I think the fuel they were on at the time. And, you know, Sebastian Vettel, Charles Leclerc have come out and said that this car is so good to drive. And even other drivers are coming out, such as Lewis Hamilton, and saying that the Ferrari car right now is very, very good. And what you're looking at right now is, in my opinion, the best car right now in Formula One. As I said yesterday multiple times, that could change during the second test of the first Grand Prix. But right now, this is the best car. It's the most comfortable to drive. The aerodynamics look great on the car. And I think they do still have the best engine, because all the Ferrari powered cars are doing very well right now. So yeah, looking good for Ferrari. They come away from a very, very successful first test. Next up is Red Bull, who have also had a successful first test, not in terms of speed and finding out how quick their car is, but in terms of reliability, which was also, always going to be the main factor for Red Bull and Honda in their first test together for the first pre-season test. That was always going to be the aim, to find reliability, and they have found plenty of it. They haven't had a breakdown as of yet. So Red Bull and Honda are looking good, but the pace of the car, well, we haven't really seen them actually try to go for a quick lap, and they don't really need to at the moment, because again, reliability is very important for them to find with Honda. But I do want to see this team actually go for some lap times in the second test, because I think now it's pretty clear that Red Bull with Honda do have good enough at the moment reliability. So I want to see in the second test them actually go for some proper lap times, because we need to see how quick this car is. And I think it is a quick car, but not necessarily quick enough compared to say the Ferrari or anything like that. Next up is Renault, who looked a lot better today than they have on any of the other days of testing. They did have a breakdown with Nico Hülkenberg towards the end of the day after he went fastest. But this Renault car is starting to come alive, and it does look like a good car. I wouldn't say a great car or a great car compared to last year. It's looking good so far, and that's all it really needs to be for Renault so far. I'm sure in the second test they're going to bring some new parts to test out and put on the car, and I'm sure they, like everyone else, will be pushing harder during the second test. So so far so good for Renault, and with the pace of the car at the moment, it's good enough at the moment, but I think they can improve the pace of the car or the handling of the car compared to the other teams. I think they can improve. I really think they can. But so far, so good, considering we've only had 4 days of pre-season testing. Next up is McLaren, who today didn't really go for any lap times. Lando Norris caused an early red flag by spinning off in a very weird spin into the gravel at turn 6, I think it was. It was a very weird spin into the gravel. But yeah, he had a good day. Good reliability from McLaren. And I think after the first test, McLaren are looking better than they were this time last year after 4 days of testing in 2018. They are looking better, and that is all that matters. All they have to do, if they're going to start looking up again, is make progress. And compared to last year, they have made progress. So Hopefully McLaren keep this up. I don't think the car is particularly quick, but it's reliable. And that's something they didn't have this time last year. They did not have a reliable car. So that is a good thing for McLaren. And so far, so good also for McLaren. Next up is Alfa Romeo, who I think have the best car in the midfield right now. The combination of the Ferrari power unit and this aero package, in my opinion, is the best car in the midfield. I'm very impressed by this car. It looks so good on track. There was a video released yesterday of Kimi Räikkönen and one of his laps yesterday in testing, and this car just looks so nailed to the track. And compared to last year's car, it looks very, very good. And I'll say this, don't be surprised if Alfa Romeo continue to impress in the second test. And also don't be surprised if at the first couple races, Alfa Romeo aren't that far off Red Bull. Because I think they aren't that far off. I think they're actually quite close. Ferrari are most likely going to have a better power unit. And because Alfa Romeo have made such a massive step with the aero and the chassis compared to the 2018 car, again, they're not going to be that far off. I think Red Bull do have a better chassis and aerodynamics, but because it's going to take them time, I think Alfa Romeo might not be that far away from them, and they are looking very good. Next up is Haas, who today, I don't think they had a breakdown today. I'm not sure if they did, but it was a good enough day. They weren't really trying to go for some serious lap times. They were doing some more race simulations today with Romain Grosjean in the morning and then Kevin Magnussen in the afternoon. But one thing I will say, and I've said this plenty of times this week, this Haas car does look good. It looks like a good car. I wouldn't be surprised if they're right there with Renault in the first few races of the season, because it just, out of the blocks, it looks good. And I'm sure they're getting plenty of power from the Ferrari power unit. So this Haas car just looks like an evolution of last year. And of course, last year they did have a faster car than Renault. I think Renault at the moment are ahead of Haas. But Haas are right there still, also with Alfa Romeo. So Haas are looking good, certainly better than I expected. Next up is Racing Point, who, if you take Williams out of the equation, Racing Point have had a very irrelevant preseason test. This car is basically a 2018 car, and then certain parts that have to meet the new regulations have met the regulations, but everything else is just a 2018 car. So there's nothing really that big to discuss with this team. They're just not really doing anything that special. They're not doing that many laps. They're only really doing race simulations. Again, they're quite irrelevant so far, and I hope they can bring some new parts to the car next week so they can actually start testing out how quick this car is. And they need to, because they don't want a similar situation to last year where they're turning up to the first race with a completely different car. But I think that is what is going to happen again. So there you go. Next up is Toro Rosso, and Alexander Albon was very good today. He was fastest for quite a few hours during testing, and I'm starting to be impressed by this Toro Rosso car. I don't think it is right there with the Alfa Romeo, Renault or the Haas, but when it comes to them versus McLaren, Racing Point and Williams, I think Toro Rosso right now have probably a better car than McLaren, Racing Point and Williams. The Toro Rosso car is looking good, especially on the soft compound of tyre, and the drivers look pretty fast at the moment. So looking good from a Toro Rosso point of view, and also looking very good from a Honda point of view, and also it does show that that power unit, when it comes to a qualifying lap, it does have a good qualifying mode, I guess. Because today, certainly, they were going for some, I think, qualifying-esque laps. And finally is Williams, who today didn't really go for any lap times. I hope they were on race simulations because they were miles off. But yeah, they weren't really going for lap times, I think. They were going for race simulations and just trying to make sure everything on the car is running and all the aero pieces are doing what they're supposed to do. But I'm afraid this first pre-season test has been just a disaster. Didn't turn up to the first 2 days. Missed half of Wednesday. And then got out on Wednesday, but only did about 15 laps, I think. And then today was really their first day of testing. A disastrous first test. And Williams, to me, with their car, they just look way behind the midfield even. So not looking good, in my opinion, from a Williams point of view. And if you are a Williams fan, then yeah, I wouldn't be best pleased, because I don't think this car, I don't think it's going to be a quick one. I really don't think it is. Hopefully they're wrong. Hopefully for the second test they'll bring something. They'll make it go faster or look faster. But I'll be honest, I don't have that much faith in this team. I honestly don't. But there you go. Those are, or that is, rather, the review of the teams. But let me know in the chat right now, guys, after testing so far, who have you been most impressed by, and who do you think right now really does have the pace, and who do you also think right now does not have the pace and has to work on their car more for the second test? Let me know in the chat and the comment section right now, and I'll try to go through as many comments as I possibly can. But before I do, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, because I will be covering the second test also on the channel. So don't forget to subscribe. Either bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there, or click on my channel name, go to my channel page and subscribe, and hit the notifications bell for more content like this. By the way, if you're wondering, guys, my throat is a bit sore because I have uploaded every day since last Monday. So yeah, I'm pretty... My throat is a bit knackered, I'll be honest. But there you go. Crystal Racing says, Autosport have claimed Williams should focus on 2020. One step forward, many steps back. Yeah. I mean, they could do that, but they're going to be then so far behind in 2019, and there's no guarantee for 2020 that they're actually going to get it right, because they should have been working on this for 2019, or they should have been working during 2018, sorry, on the 2019 car, and they just really haven't. So yeah. Right, let me look through the chat. Han Solo, yesterday's review was deleted from YouTube. It wasn't deleted. Basically, it was falsely copyright claimed by FOM, and there's nothing I can do. I've appealed. It'll get released. The video will come back, but you know, that's not the point. They shouldn't be claiming that. They shouldn't be. There's nothing in the video they own. Absolutely nothing. And it's completely false. Right. Let me look at some more comments. Annette, it will come back then. Yeah, it does. What happens is, I think after 28 days, if the person who has claimed the video doesn't respond to the response that I've given, so the dispute, then it will get automatically released. Or they can just release it manually or keep it up. But if they keep it up, it'll be incredibly false. The F1 debate show, great to see you here. Toro Rosso Constructors Champions. Oh my. No kidding, but how close is the midfield? It's going to be a great season. I think the midfield, for one, is close to each other, but I think the midfield is not that far off the top teams. And I said this earlier, I don't think Alfa Romeo, for example, are that far off Red Bull. I don't think they are. I think they're at most half a second behind right now. The Alfa Romeo has made a massive step forward compared to what it was last year. I don't think they're that far behind Red Bull. They're not competitive, seriously, with Red Bull, but they are definitely within a second of Red Bull, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're within half a second at the moment, of course. Things, though, could easily be different for the first race, and Red Bull could end up winning it. We don't know. Jago Design, can we know why the Alpha stopped twice? Please let me know. I actually don't know either, because it happened so soon ago. I didn't actually see what the issue is, and I don't think they're really going to tell us anyway. Caleb, what do you think the pecking order in the midfield is? I actually will get into that on the next video I'm doing after this, which is the podcast with Nib. I will reveal what I think the pecking order is right now, but I will get into further what is coming up on the channel between now and the end of the second test. The F1 debate show says, I can see Williams way off the pace. For me, Ferrari and Mercedes are away with it. I agree. Unless Mercedes are down on pace, but I doubt it. Red Bull, I don't know. Anyone want to guess where Red Bull will be? I think, to be safe, I think Red Bull are basically where they were last season, but they're just not pushing the car that hard. But I think, again, the top of the midfield, I think, is closer to the top three teams. I do think that. Max Claydon says the Williams with those aero rakes looks like it drove through a fence. This livery looks absolutely horrible, but as I said at the start of this stream, I will get into the results of a vote that I posted earlier on Twitter, Discord, and my community part of my YouTube channel page. I will get into the results of that later on. Tonka Toy Truck says Red Bull will be closer to Ferrari and Mercedes and a bigger gap behind them. Spider Monkey asks or says, you said that testing will not be final result, but who is hiding their true potential of their car? Everyone is sandbagging. Let's make this clear. Everyone is sandbagging, because the definition of sandbagging is not going as quick as you can, and none of these teams are going as quick as they could. So all the teams are sandbagging, but some teams are sandbagging more than others. So for example, Mercedes on day 1, day 2 and day 3 was sandbagging a lot more compared to Ferrari, but today I don't think Mercedes was sandbagging massively, but again, all the teams are sandbagging. Right. Let me find some more comments. I will put up on the screen in a moment what tyres people were using for their lap times today and the amount of laps that people did. Connor Chapman, people have not been expecting a lot from Toro Rosso, but that team has been reliable and steadily putting up solid times, testing or not. I wasn't that impressed by Toro Rosso in the first couple of days of testing, but after that, their car is looking better. And the times, even though we don't know fuel loads and engine modes, it kind of reflects that their car does look better. Connor Chapman also says, Can you confirm the report I heard about Toto Wolff heading back to Brackley after the 3rd day of testing? If so, would that be a concern over the W10? I don't know if that is true. I don't know. I haven't actually seen that report. After this stream goes up, post it in the comments section, the link to that if you can find it, and I'll have a look through it. But it wouldn't be a surprise if what he said was true, that Mercedes are currently half a second behind Ferrari, which, to be honest, I don't actually think is a wild claim. I think Ferrari right now are probably half a second clear of Mercedes. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. Right, final comment, and then I'll go on to showing the tyre situation and the amount of laps that people did. Final comment, the F1 debate show, who will do the best in the rookie battle this year? I think it will be I'm gonna say Norris at the moment. And then he says, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to appear on our show? I am very excited, but also when it comes to everyone else watching, I will talk about that further once we get closer to that certain day. But anyway, let me now get into showing this graphic, because it is, of course, very, very important. And it does also kind of show who has the pace and who doesn't. So let me just get that up. And by the way, again, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, as we will continue, copyright issues or not, to cover pre-season testing. So don't forget to subscribe. Bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there, or click on my channel name, go to my channel page and subscribe, and also hit the notifications bell for more content like this. But let me just throw this up on the screen. Also, another thing, today was the most amount of drivers we've had on track today. We had 14 drivers on track today. Quite a lot compared to last year. And also, it's great to see the weather conditions were better compared to last year, because it seems as though there's been a lot more representative running. Anyway, here are the lap times with the tyres. So let me scroll down to there. So, Hülkenberg fastest, but was on the fastest compound C5. So was Albon and Ricciardo and Bottas. And then Hamilton on the C4. And then Charles Leclerc there on the C3. So, if they are running similar fuel loads, then it would be about right. If Ferrari are, according to Toto Wolff, half a second clear, then that's about right. If you do the tyre corrections, it's about right. It's about half a second in Ferrari's favour. And then Norris, C4. I think Norris did a lap time right at the end of the day. So if my results are incorrect, sorry about that. But what I do is I sit there and I watch the Sky Sports F1 coverage, and I also have Autosport and their live updating feed during the day. And they even said on their blog that when the Alfa Romeo stopped for the second time, that is most likely it for today's action. And there you go, Norris still did a lap time of 1:18.4 on the C4 tyre. And then Giovinazzi, C3, Grosjean C3, Magnussen C3, Gasly C3, Stroll C2, Russell C3, and Kubica C2. Let's hope that the Williams isn't that slow, because if it is, then yeah, they're going to be basically like Manor in 2015, and we don't want to see that. But there you go. And let's also look at the amount of laps that were done. Renault didn't actually do that many laps, so let me clear my throat again. Very, very sore. So Ricciardo 34 laps, Hülkenberg 24. So what's that 58 laps. That's not a lot. That isn't that good. Albon 136. That's very good. And Gasly 146. So Honda power looking good. And that is good to see. And then Bottas and Hamilton 57 and 58. So that's what, 115, something like that, around that area. Leclerc 138. Norris 132. Giovinazzi 154. So I think he has the most amount of laps. Yes, he does. Most amount of laps for day 4 goes to Antonio Giovinazzi. And then the two Haas's 64 and 66. So that's what, 120-ish, around that area. We've done Gasly. Stroll did a bit more laps today than I think Racing Point have done in the past few days, 72, but that's still disappointing. Russell only did 17, and then Kubica did 48, so that's what, 65? Yeah, not good for Williams. Not good at all. And let me quickly just check the chat to see what you guys have to say. What do you think about those times, and who do you think really has the pace and who doesn't? Let me know in the chat and the comment section right now, and I'll try to read through as many comments as I possibly can. Jay Crail, I'm not convinced with Williams's 17 and 48 laps. Seemed to me that something there is very wrong, that they really need to iron out as soon as possible. Yeah. I think a lot of those laps are installation laps, to be honest, and that's not good. That is really not good. Red Rum says Claire Williams needs to step down. Yes, she does. Prussia says, I hope Kvyat has a good year, because from my point of view, this guy has got talent. He beat Ricciardo in his first year at Red Bull in 2015, even though he had a bad 2016. Yeah. I think even though Kvyat wasn't in Formula 1 last year, he deserved to be. He has the pace and he is a good enough driver. And if people are honestly going to sit there and say, oh, well, he's done this accident and this accident, well, I could say the same about Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel and drivers like that, but they also have pace. Kvyat, of course, is nowhere near as quick as those drivers, but drivers make mistakes. All drivers have or make bad errors or have bad seasons. Lewis Hamilton in 2011, for example. Vettel last year. Max Verstappen in the first 6 races. It happens. You know, you can't do anything about it. Drivers have patches in their career where they just crash all the time, but then after that they become a better driver and move forward. So I think people were way too harsh on Kvyat, way too harsh. Right, let me read some more comments. The F1 debate show says I'd count Giovinazzi as a rookie. I'm not going to, because yeah, he did 2 races, so I'm not going to count him as a rookie. The rookies for me are Norris, Russell, and Albon. And yeah, I think Norris will take it. Dominic says MCL 34, so the new McLaren 2019 car. That's the name of it, by the way. Does very well so far. I think it will be a better year, and they're stepping back to pace. Again, I don't think the car is that quick, but in terms of, if you compare the first 4 days of testing last year to the first 4 days of testing this year, McLaren are looking better, and that is all that matters. That's all they need, to have a better first test, and hopefully that goes, the same for the second test as well. Skyman says, no, you can't say the same about other drivers like Max and Vettel. The mistakes from Kvyat were way different. I disagree. They weren't way different. They were similar in terms of the errors that were committed from a mental standpoint. Right, let me find some more comments. By the way, in a moment, guys, I will get onto the results of the poll for who you voted for best livery on the grid. I will get onto that very, very soon. Prussia says, I hope Williams can turn up the pace a bit, even though I doubt their reliability. I think the car, once they really get going, I think it is a reliable car, but it's all about the pace. If the car's slow, then who cares if it's unreliable? Because it's not going to finish anywhere near the points anyway. Daniel says the McLaren isn't at the back this year. Compared to, say, the end of last year, yeah, McLaren, I would say, are looking better. They aren't back there with Williams. I think McLaren are, right now, I'd say McLaren are better than Racing Point and Williams. They look better, especially around some of the faster corners. The McLaren car just does look better than the Racing Point and the Williams. So yeah, they're looking better, but we'll have to see how good they are in the second test. Sebastian, are Mercedes bringing upgrades next week? Yes, they are. They are bringing a massive upgrade to the second test to combat the Ferrari pace. Jago Design, hey, did you answer my question? I was doing something else. I'm not sure if I missed it. Ask it again. Ask it again and I'll try to answer it. I didn't quite see it. I might have answered it because I did answer one from you earlier. But ask it again if I did miss it. Dixon 1WP says Charles is looking very good. Yes, he is. Jago Design. Right, so this is the question. Does the second week of testing stand for performance? I mean, shall we see the fastest times? It won't give you what the order is definitely going to be for the first race, but we are going to know a ton more on Friday evening, next Friday evening. So that's what, 8 days time. We're going to know a lot more about the pecking order, because the second test, because these cars have been so reliable compared to what I expected, basically for all the teams, the second test is basically going to be about finding out how quick your car is. So expect in the second test for there to be plenty of qualifying laps from all of the teams. And yeah, by the end of the second test, we should start to see some sort of pecking order. It might not apply directly to the first race, but it'll be more like a rough idea. But right now, I have a rough idea of what the pecking order is, but it'll be a lot clearer after the second test. Someone's saying, hi, hello to you. What about Alfa Romeo and Kimi? Is there a possibility of an upset? There is. The Alfa Romeo, to me, is right now the best car in the midfield. They're still close with teams like Renault and Haas, but I think Alfa Romeo right now do have the best car in the midfield. Dixon 1WP says, can you also explain the tyres? Let me just scroll down. So there you go. So C1 is the hardest, C5 the softest. So C1 is basically the medium from last year. C2 is like the soft from last year, except it's different color. C3, which is yellow this year, is basically like the super soft from last year. C4 is like the ultra soft from last year, but except it's red, not purple. And then the C5 is basically like last year's ultra soft. So yeah, that's basically the situation with the tyres. I am starting to learn it better, but it is still a bit confusing, to be honest. There you go. Simon Cracklin says he preferred the names for the tyres from last year. I did as well. I thought the tyre names were better from last year. Sabine asks, who is the fastest car in your opinion? Right now, I'd have to say the Ferrari. It looks so comfortable to drive. It looks almost on rails at times. And the talk from the paddock in Barcelona is that Ferrari have a clear gap to the rest of the field of, I think, half a second, they said. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is reality. Connor Chapman, I'll read out this or answer this comment and then I'll go on to the results of the poll. Chaz, do you know if Ferrari gave Alfa the most updated Ferrari motor? Yes. Yes, and also Haas do have the... Haas also have the newest Ferrari power unit. So, yeah, looking good. Looking very good for those teams. But now I'm going to get into the results of the poll. The poll is about who has the best livery on the 2019 grid. I released this poll during the day. Plenty of you voted on it. So, let me now reveal the results. So here they are. So Mercedes have just about took it from Ferrari in second. And then it's Red Bull in third. Joint third with Alfa Romeo and Haas. So plenty of you liking the Haas livery. I personally don't rate it that highly. Then Toro Rosso. And then after that, there were no votes for Renault, McLaren, Racing Point, or Williams. So you guys just about think that the Mercedes was the best livery. And I agree. I think the Mercedes is the best. And then I'd say Ferrari. And then after that, probably, I don't know, Red Bull or Renault after that, to be honest. But yeah, I agree. Mercedes do have the best livery. But let me know right now, guys. Because I know plenty of you probably missed this poll or you're new to the channel. Let me know in the chat right now who in your opinion has the best livery. Put it in the chat and the comment section right now and I'll try to read out as many comments as I can regarding that. Jago Design says Alfa Romeo should be on top. Gixaman says Williams. Just saw an Alfa Romeo there. Dominic says McLaren looks awesome behind Alfa. Caleb says Haas. Sebastian says Mercedes. Someone there. Let me just scroll up. Andre, I think it is. Says McLaren by far. Unseen Live says Haas is trash compared to Renault. Only the GPS color saves them. Unseen Live also says Williams best livery. For me, the Williams is the worst. Soul says Ferrari. Phase Gamer 55 says Ferrari. Ivan, Ferrari. J Crayon, Mercedes, followed by Ferrari. Bristol Racing says Alpha. No real surprise considering he's a Kimi Raikkonen fan, but it does look good even if you're not a fan of any of the drivers or that team. Dixon1WP says Ferrari. Skyman says Red Bull. Prussia, Ferrari and McLaren to me. Motorsport Tube says Williams. Okay. Jatzuak. Sorry if I've mispronounced that. He says Alfa Romeo, then Williams. Flavio says, let me find it. Toro Rosso, that's who he says. Harry, I can't read the rest of that because it's too confusing to be honest. He says Ferrari is the best. MG says McLaren is his personal favourite. Han Solo says Renault, then Mercedes, and then Ferrari. Juren, I think it is, says Red Bull. Then by Mercedes and Alfa. Diego Design says Ferrari looks orange when the sun hits it. Sabine says Ferrari. And there you go. I think I have read through plenty of comments regarding that. But as we are now at the end of the first test, give me, guys, some final questions and also some final thoughts from the first test. Just let me know in the chat and the comment section, what have you thought of the first test and what are your takeaways from the first test going into the second one? Let me know in the chat and the comment section. And again, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. I will be covering the second test in a very interesting way, and I'll get onto that at the end of this video. And please, please, guys, stick around to the end because it is vitally important when it comes to the content on the channel between now and the end of the second test. It's vitally important, so please, please stick around. Yeah, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there, or click on my channel name, go to my channel page and subscribe for more content like this, and hit the notifications bell. And also, if you want the best way to get notifications for my videos or streams, join the Discord server, link below in the description. We are quite interactive in there and there's a good growing community over there. And again, it's the best place to get notifications for my videos and streams. So don't forget also to join that. Right. Let's now get into some final comments. Bastian asks, do you think Mercedes can make 5 tenths up to Ferrari? Yes, I think they can. I think they can. Tonka Toy Truck says Honda and Renault reliability issues. Hold on, it's just gone away. Seem to have been addressed. Both are looking good. Honda right now are looking better than Renault. Renault aren't looking that bad, but I think Honda are looking better than Renault right now. Not in terms of power, but reliability. Connor Chapman, ready to see some wheel-to-wheel scuffs on that pretty little Merc. Let me find some more comments. MG, midfield teams all show decent pace and reliability. Might be very close this year. Yeah, I think the midfield is closer to the top teams. I think they are. Caleb, which team should I support? Whoever you want. It's up to you, of course. Ricky says Williams. Oh my god, that front wing and the cheap looking arrow. Or maybe he says or thinks or is meaning aero. So sad. Yeah, it is a sad situation at Williams. Andre, are you going to any Grand Prix this year? I can't say at the moment. I might be. I might be. I'll leave it at that. I can't say that. Sayrus Nina, I think it is. Sorry if I mispronounced it. My first attempt was terrible. What do you think of the Alfa Romeo Ferrari partnership or relationship? It is looking like a good one, and it's going to be one of, I think, controversy this year, because I think Alfa Romeo have gained from a further technical relationship with Ferrari, coupled as well with Haas. I think they are gaining from that. Right. Let me find a couple more comments. Skyman, Renault is not only motor. I think that the chassis is their main problem. They lack speed compared to Toro Rosso and Alfa Romeo. I think Renault are ahead of Toro Rosso, but I don't think they are ahead of Alfa Romeo. But that is probably down to power more than chassis. But the Renault chassis does have to improve if they want to get up there with Red Bull and even Mercedes, if in 2019 Mercedes are slow, but I don't think they will be. Hussein, do you think Mercedes is sandbagging? All the teams are, but I think Mercedes in the first test have sandbagged the most. Actually, not the most. I'd say the second most because Racing Point have sandbagged the most. Ricky says or asks, do you expect Haas to be hot out of the gates once we hit Albert Park? They used to be flying from start. That track does tend to be one of their best tracks of the season. So yeah, I think Haas will be right up there in the top 10 at the first race. And their car looks good. So yeah. No gloss paint advantage, question mark. I don't know. I don't really... I'll be honest, I'm not an expert on that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know when it comes to that. Simon Cragland, it's nice to hear English commentators talking nicely about K-Mag. No problem. Yeah, I don't know why people are so critical of the guy. I don't know why. Yeah, he's aggressive and can be a bit of an idiot, but you know, this is the thing with K-Mag is if you look at a lot of the crashes he has been involved in, a lot of them aren't his fault, or they are his fault, but they're not as bad as people are making out. So I think the guy gets way too much criticism. There's a couple people asking for my pecking order. I will give that out in the next video because I still actually need to think about it and properly put it in order. So I can't put it or can't say it right now because I don't know for sure what my pecking order is. I have a rough idea at certain parts of the grid, but I want to make sure I confirm in my head who I think is ahead in certain, in certain bits of the grid. Right, I'm looking for one final comment and then I'll come to the end, but I will get on to just in a moment, guys, some very important content stuff that is coming between now and the end of the second test. And the final comment or question goes to Connor Chapman. Are we seeing the Ferrari supply teams growing deeper ties with Ferrari in an effort by Ferrari to cause disruption for the main team, also or almost like pieces of a chess game? This is the only way though that could happen. Basically Alfa Romeo and Haas have to use the technical guidance or what they get from Ferrari. They have to get more out of that than Ferrari, but realistically they're never going to, because Ferrari are always going to have the best out of certain parts, suspension or aerodynamic parts, and also Ferrari has a better driver lineup. So even if you do have a better car or a equal enough car, your driver lineup might not be able to get the results. So I see your point, but it is going to take a lot to try and do such a thing. You need to do basically a better job with the parts that have been kind of given to you by Ferrari, but realistically that's never really going to happen. But there you go. But that is, let me just come off this. That is the end of this review of day 4. Again, because day 1, day 2, and day 3 were copyright claimed falsely, don't be surprised if this isn't viewable for very long, because I think they might strike this one as well. Hopefully they don't. They shouldn't, because it's false. They don't own anything in the video. So hopefully they don't. And yeah, FOM, if you're listening, just don't. You don't own anything in the video, but there you go. But yeah, thank you guys for coming along to today's video. And also, thank you guys who are new to the channel and that have subbed in the last 2 weeks, because I have been on fire in the last 2 weeks in terms of gaining subs, views, and just doing videos and streams. Today is the final day of I think a 10-day in a row stretch of uploading content immediately or all the time. So thank you guys a lot if you are new to the channel for subscribing, liking videos, commenting down below, getting interactive in the live chat. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. But what is coming up on the channel between now and the end of the first test? Let me now go through that. So there will not be a live podcast on Saturday, because if you don't know, I'm actually going to be going to the second test, taking video, also some pictures, and also reporting from the track with a camera and microphone and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm going to the second test and I'm going to be covering it from the track. Also, if you're in the Discord, let me know if there are certain things you want me to capture from the cars, and I'll try to. But anyway, so yeah, the podcast on Saturday will not be live, because I will be in the process of actually going out to Spain and then getting in the place we're staying at and stuff like that. So I won't be able to do it live, but there will be 2 podcast episodes between now and the day 1 of the second test, or day 5 of preseason testing on Tuesday. The first podcast will be on Saturday, reviewing the first preseason test, looking at the pecking order, rather, not the petting order, the pecking order that I think is currently, in Formula 1 out of all the teams. I'll also show the amount of laps that people did, combined over the days, and also I'll show who did the fastest laps over the 4 days and how they match up against each other. And Nib will do plenty of technical analysis when it comes to cars. So that will be on Saturday. And then on Monday, there will be another podcast episode previewing the second test. So those are the 2 videos coming out between now and when preseason testing gets going again on Tuesday. And then you have the second test, which I'm going to be attending. Now, the plan is to do like a, 5 to 10 minute video of me talking in front of the camera with a microphone, and then showing in between pictures and videos of the cars, and basically that's what it is. But I need to stress this: don't be surprised if we have issues that mean that I can't upload on certain days, because this is a bit of a new thing that I am going for. I'm hoping it works out, and I think if it does, then this will work out very well for the channel. But don't be surprised if we do have issues, and I might not be able to upload as much on a certain day or at all because we have an issue, or I need to edit the video more, or also if the video doesn't come out around 5-6 p.m, sorry about that, but there's nothing we can really do. I'm aiming to really upload the videos more towards, 7-8 o'clock at night here in the UK. So that is what the plan is from that standpoint. So that's the plan for the second test. And then the second test, or preseason testing, finishes on Friday the 1st of March. Now that weekend, the 2nd and the 3rd, there will be no content whatsoever. But then on the 4th of March, which is a Monday, on that night, once I get back properly from Spain, on that night, that Monday night, me and Nib are going to live review pre-season testing. So that is the plan from now until that podcast on the 4th of March. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notifications bell, because there is plenty of exciting content coming to the channel, and I cannot wait to get out there and see the cars and really see for myself who has the best car, who is struggling, and who is looking quite impressive. I cannot wait to go out and see what's going on. But guys, that is that channel update. And again, thank you guys for coming along. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there, or click on my channel name, go to my channel page and subscribe, and hit the notifications bell. Like this video, comment down below what you thought of this video, and who do you think comes out the first test looking very good. And what do you think the pecking order right now is in Formula 1? Again, if this video is not appearing for some reason, then it's probably been copyright claimed and there's nothing I can do about it. I will dispute it and it will get released and come back. But yeah, that's the situation if that does happen. As well, don't forget to join my Discord server, link below in the description. That's the best place for notifications for my videos and streams, and is very interactive with or during the days of testing, and I'm sure it will as well during the races. And also, I'm going to try and figure out a way to upload more of the video of the cars at the second test onto Discord more than in the actual video. So if you want to see more videos from the cars, then make sure to join the Discord server, because I'll try to upload more, video of the cars in the server more so than in the video. So make sure to join the Discord server. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Chaz6110, a great place to keep up to date with me and when I'm uploading or when I'm going live. And also, if you're wondering why a video hasn't or isn't appearing, and you're wondering where it is or why it's been copyright claimed, I've normally tweeted about it on my Twitter. And some of you would have seen my tweet earlier, and it's absolutely bang on. Absolutely bang on. As well, check out my website, chazerhd.com, for more content like this. But until the next live stream, which is going to be on the 4th of March, I'm going to miss you guys when it comes to talking to you guys live. How many days is that? I think it's 10 days until the next live stream. So yeah, I'm going to miss you guys, but I will do live streams again. Just got to wait 10 days. But until the second test, where I'm going to be reporting from, and until the podcast on Saturday with Nib, reviewing the first test and looking at some of the technical stuff on the new 2019 cars, it's been me, ChazerHD. Goodbye.